This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hi everyone, and welcome back to a brand new speed build. Today I am so freaking excited to share this build because it is my first build with the new expansion pack, The Sims 4 for Rent, which we got just a couple of days ago, and I am so excited to share this. I have had my hands on this pack for a few days now because I was able to get early access through the EA Creator Network, so I have been able to kind of play around with it and see what it's all about and stuff like that. Well, when I say play around with it, I've been able to build with it. I haven't even looked at cast yet, which I need to do, but I haven't done any gameplay or anything like that either, so I literally just looked at the build things. But from what I've done, I'm in love with this pack. I am so excited to share this build and share like future builds with you guys because I absolutely love this pack. So for the first build with this pack, I of course wanted to do something with apartments or like build my own apartment complex or something like that. And not gonna lie, I struggled. This is like, I think the fourth or fifth time I built this house. When the first few times that I built it, I built a structure and then I was like, I didn't go far with it, if that makes sense. I built the structure and then I was doing the floor plan and then I realized that this is not going to work because I don't know why I was struggling so much with the floor plan for this build, both for like this version of the build but also the previous versions that I had to scrap, and I think it's just because like I've obviously never built anything with apartments before. Well, I've obviously like furnished apartments, but I've never built anything that, you know, is an apartment complex, if that makes sense. So I struggled with the floor plan and kind of figuring out how much space I needed for each apartment because I kept forgetting that like each apartment needs a bathroom and each apartment needs a, they don't necessarily need it, but like I wanted each apartment to have their own bedroom, so I didn't want any of them to be like a just like one bedroom apartment. I guess they are one bedroom apartments technically. I meant more like I don't want them to be like a studio apartment. There we go, I found the word. Good job, Mal. But yeah, I didn't want any of them to be that, so I did struggle a bit, but we did end up with this build, obviously, and I actually love it. Like, I love it so much. I feel like it's definitely outside my comfort zone. I don't know, I struggled, like I said, not only with the floor plan, but also just in general, I kind of struggled with it. Not only have I never built an apartment complex before, but I've also never built anything not in the style per se, because this is built in the new world, which is called Tomarang, I think is how you pronounce it, which obviously is Southeast Asian inspired, and this build isn't like particularly like Southeast Asian, like I don't know, it's not like a typical or like a classic or traditional. There we go, I'm struggling, I literally just woke up so I'm sorry for how this voiceover is going to be, but I didn't, obviously, like, this is not very traditional for the Southeast Asian, but I did still kind of struggle a little bit because, I don't know, it was in general very outside my comfort zone, and again, this isn't, like, traditional in any sense, but I do feel like it fits in this world pretty good, because I wouldn't place this particularly maybe, like, in San Moschino, because I don't feel like it's that city-like, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like I feel like it fits in this world mostly. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyways, I should probably mention the apartments in this. So this build ends up having 4 apartments and a laundromat. So I wanted to have some type of, some type of commercial lot. And also I want to apologize if you hear any background sounds or background noise. I don't know why I said background sounds. I literally just woke up, which means that it is daytime for once. I normally don't record during daytime because that means that there will be like other noises, like my family or the outside world or, you know, whatever. But I want to get this out for you guys today, so I am so sorry if you hear any background noise. I'm going to try to drown it out with music and stuff like that, and if there are any weird cuts, it's because I have to pause because there are like dogs barking or there's like drills or whatever going off. So I'm so sorry for that. But yeah, anyways, I wanted some type of like commercial lot, or not lot, but like commercial part of this lot, if that makes any sense. I don't feel like it does, but it kind of does for me at least. Mostly because I feel like that is very, very, very realistic. In a lot of like city apartments or whatever, there will be some type of commercial lot on the downstairs of a lot of apartment buildings, and so I wanted to have that implemented in this. So a very small part of this ends up being a little laundromat, which is, I feel like, very not just realistic but also very handy, because obviously you can only, like, with this pack, sadly, you cannot have, what's it called, like, commercial lots and residential lots at the same time. I really wish that was a feature of this pack, but sadly it is not, which I kind of get, because I feel like that would be very hard to kind of make work, but I get it. But also, I really wish we had that, because, like, I've been saying for years that, and I feel like every single builder has, but, like, I've been saying for years that I really want us to be able to have like apartments and commercial lots, or like just a residential lot and like commercial lot on the same lot, but work simultaneously, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, sadly we do not, which is really sad. But anyways, so this isn't like, the laundromat isn't technically a commercial lot, but I wanted it to look like it is like a thingy. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, but basically it's very handy because, again, it's not gonna work as in Sims are gonna come here to just do their laundry. To be fair, we don't even have laundromats in The Sims 4, but I feel like it works because then the Sims living here can go downstairs and do laundry, and if you have maybe, I don't know, some other Sims in another place of the world, or another world or whatever that you want for them to go to a laundromat, they can technically come here and visit and do their laundry. I feel like that might be a little weird, but they can technically. But yeah, anyways, so again, talking about the apartments themselves, there ends up being 4 apartments in this, like I said, and in the timestamps, by the way, there will be timestamps for each apartment, if that makes sense. I normally just do like exterior, interior screenshots and stuff like that, but I have decided for these types of builds that have like different apartments, there are going to be timestamps for each apartment. So there's going to be like apartment number 1 and apartment number 2 and whatever, just so that it's easier for you to like navigate if you want to go back and watch a specific apartment, or whatever. I feel like it might be a little bit more easier. But yeah, so the first apartment, which you will see me do, is a kind of small apartment. All of them ends up being kind of small. They're all 1-bedroom apartments except for the last one, which of course I will talk about. But basically, the first apartment I envisioned being for a couple of grandparents. Of course, you don't have to have that if you want to have, like, that goes for every single apartment that I talk about, or every single build I ever do, but like specifically for this build, I did kind of have a like vision for all of the Sims living here. But obviously you don't have to have that if you don't want to. Like, if you want to have a young couple in the, I don't know, the quote-unquote grandparents apartment, you can do that. I don't care. But that's just kind of what I was thinking when I decorated them. So again, the first apartment I envisioned being for a couple of grandparents, and maybe they are even like the landlords or whatever for this, like the owners of this entire like apartment complex or whatever, because I feel like that's pretty realistic. Like, there's, I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong. To be fair, I've never lived in an apartment complex, so I don't know, I'm kind of just going off of like, I don't know, TV shows and stuff like that, but I feel like that's pretty realistic to have like an older couple, or like just an older person in general, have like being the landlord. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe I'm just imagining things, I don't know. But anyways, I was furnishing the first apartment to be for an older couple or grandparents or whatever. And they also have a little cat, which I feel like is really cute. In general, I've talked about this before, in general, when I do apartments, I don't always add pets, because I feel like that might be a little, not inhumane, but like, because I know a lot of people have pets and they live in apartments. Like, don't get me wrong, you can do that definitely, but I am from the countryside. Well, I didn't grow up in the countryside. I grew up in a city, but I am currently in the countryside, and everyone here has pets. Like, we are able to, like, take them to just, like, fields and let them run or whatever. Not the cats per se, because I don't think they would like that, but you know what I mean. So I've talked about before how it feels kind of weird to have, like, dogs in apartments and stuff like that, but for this, I wanted to still be realistic, and a lot of people do have pets in apartments. So again, the grandparents have a cat, which I feel like is a little bit more, I don't know, common to have a cat in an apartment than a dog, maybe. I don't know. I also feel like if you do have a dog in an apartment, it won't be like a big one. Like, I don't feel like you would have a German Shepherd in an apartment, but maybe you would. I don't actually know. I don't know. I think one of my friends has a Australian Shepherd. Is that what it's called? I don't think that's actually the breed that it is, but it looks like one, so it's something similar to that. And she lives in an apartment, so I don't know. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyways, the second apartment is by the way, the first apartment is on the first floor. There ends up being 2 apartments on the first floor and then 2 apartments on the second floor, if that makes sense. So the second apartment is also on the first floor, and I kind of envisioned that for being for like a single sim and kind of like a younger one, maybe like a young adult or something like that. Again, obviously you don't have to have that. If you want to have a couple there, you can have that. If you want to have the grandparents living there, you can have that. But I kind of decorated with a little bit more of a younger person in mind. That said, I don't know what that means, but take it or leave it. So yeah, there's not much to say about that apartment. I do really like it, but yeah, it ends up being for just a single sim. At least in my save file, there's only going to be a single sim there. And then the third apartment you will see me do is the apartment that kind of on the left side of the build. There ends up being a staircase and like a front door up until that apartment, but there is also a front door to that apartment like inside, if that makes sense. So that apartment ends up having 2 front doors, which it might be a little weird, but I have been in apartments that are like that have like 2 entryways. So I don't know, but that ends up being for, at least again what I imagine, ends up being for a couple and their dog. So I was thinking that maybe because they have a dog, they have 2 entrances. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense, but that's just how it worked out, and I feel like it looks good, so don't come for me, please. But yeah, it ends up being for just a couple and their dog, and I was thinking that they're either like a young adult couple or an adult couple, but I was leaning more towards a young adult couple, but obviously again, you can have whoever you want, I don't care. And then the fourth and final apartment is for a mom or dad or a parent or whatever, and 2 kids. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to have a single parent in there or what's it called, or like a couple like 2 parents. I haven't decided quite yet because I feel like either way it would work, but yeah. Anyways, and there ends up being 1 kid's room, but I ends up I am so lost right now. I ended up putting a double bed in there, so there is room for 2 kids in there. So yeah, I feel like I've talked so much about like the apartment it's already without even like mentioning anything about this pack. But yeah, so I obviously with this build I wanted to utilize this pack to the max. I wanted to use so many objects from it and everything, and like I said, I think I already said this, but I am absolutely in love with this pack. I love it so much, and I am definitely going to be using this pack in not just like builds in this world and in not just apartments. I'm going to be using this in like every single build probably. I love it so much. I have so many new like favorite objects. I'm so happy that we got a couple of new plants. As you will probably see, and as you'll probably know if you've been here before, I do love my plants, and so I'm so happy that we got a couple of new plants. I do, however, wish that the plant that is kind of like, I don't know how to say, but it's just green, if that makes sense, and it's a standing plant and it's just green, if that makes any sense whatsoever. That one, I do wish that it came in a kind of like cream swatch for the like pot itself, but that's just me because I realized that I do really like having cream swatches of like all the objects in game, and I have like gravitated towards using that plant a couple of times now, and then like trying to find a cream swatch and then it just doesn't exist, and I'm like, dang it. But it's okay, that's just like a minor thing, but I do really love that plant. I do end up also really loving that, like the smallest plant that we got, which is like just really small, but it's so cute, and I'm going to be using it all the time. It's just like a cute little simple plant, and I love it. And in general, again, I love this entire build and buy. We got so many beautiful objects with this. So again, we got a mix of kind of just like quote unquote like regular objects and like regular styles or whatever, but then we also got a lot of objects in this more kind of like traditional Southeast Asian inspired style, and they look beautiful. Like the windows, oh my god, all the windows are so beautiful and I love them so much. For this build, I ended up going with a mix of 2 of the windows from this pack, one window, the window that has kind of like the shutters on the side, that one is, and that's kind of like longer. I don't know, I used it on one part of the build. That one is from Discover University, and then I also end up using a window from Snowy Escape that has this kind of, it's kind of like, I have no idea how to explain this. It's kind of like a bump out window, if that makes any sense. I was just going through the windows and I realized that we had that one and it fits so well into this build, so I decided to use that one, and it ends up looking so pretty. But then we do have a lot of other windows from this pack and they look so beautiful. The detail in this pack in general, I am in love with it. I absolutely adore the new like stained glass windows that we have. So you will see that the front door to all of the apartments is this new door that we got, which once again I'm in love with. I love it so much. It's so realistic, because like I have been to apartments where the door kind of looks like that, and I've seen it in like so many TV shows and whatever, so I feel like it's so realistic. But you will see that on the top of that door there's also this like stained glass feature, and it looks so good. And we have a couple of windows that match that, and they just look so beautiful. And we have like quite just a lot of objects that again are quite traditional, but also some that are not as traditional, like the kitchen counters, which I am in love with. I'm going to be using these kitchen counters like all the time. They have some swatches that are a little bit more like traditional. You will see that I think I end up using these counters in 3 of the apartments, but I use them in this kind of like darker wood swatch, which in general is kind of like the tone for this entire build. I ended up using this very dark wood swatch, which I'm in love with. It's probably my favorite wood swatch. I do love this. We have so many objects from different packs in this wood swatch, so I just use it all the time. But yeah, the swatch I ended up using in that apartment for the counters ends up looking a little bit more traditional, and just, I don't know, just quote unquote regular. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. And then in the third apartment that you will see me do, which is for the couple and the dog, I end up using it in a like, the wood swatch is a little bit of a like a lighter wood, and then it has this like black countertop, and it looks so good, and it looks a little bit more like sleek and modern, and I'm going to be using that in a lot of builds as well. I think it just looks so good. I think in general the third apartment is maybe my favorite apartment. I do also love like every single other apartment that I did in this, but I think maybe the third apartment is my favorite, mostly just because that's more of my personal style as well, so that's probably why. But yeah, so I do end up absolutely loving these cabinets and counters. We also have this absolutely like, it's so pretty, this new shelf that we have, which looks like it's more so you would have it in a kitchen, because it does have like, I'm pretty sure it has like a pot on it or something like that, but it is so cute. We end up getting this like little shelf, and it has like 2 shelves, but then they have some decorations already on it, and it's so pretty. And then what other objects, because there are like so many new objects that I wanted to talk about. We have these new paintings, which you will see me use in, I think I only use it in the first apartment and the 4th apartment, but we have this painting that is technically quite a few different paintings altogether, which I love when the Sims team do that. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the time I'm like, I wish we had some of these paintings. It's kind of like when, you know how they will sometimes like cluster plants together? They tend to do that for paintings as well sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, I wish we had these paintings separated, but, and I do for this one as well. I think it just ends up looking so good as these like, the way they accumulated them, if that makes sense. So they are, I want to say like 5 or 6 different paintings in that. I don't know. I ended up using it in the first apartment. They're kind of like above the TV, and then in the fourth apartment they're above the kind of the dining room table area, whatever. Again, all the apartments are very cramped, so there ends up being like not actually a dining room, but like a dining room. There's a dining table. That's what I was trying to say there. Again, I am so losing it. Also, my voice is dying, which is great. We love that. But yeah, I ended up using that painting in a few different places, and it looks so good. We have them in a few different swatches, not only just like wood swatches, but also like painting swatches, if that makes sense. And I love them. They're a perfect size, and I'm going to be using them all the time. And I love it so much. And then also, maybe one of my favorite objects from this entire pack, actually came with Debug. And it's this little like tiger plushie kind of, and it looks so cute. So I don't know, I think you can, apparently, again, I have not been looking into gameplay at all, but apparently you can adopt, there's like a animal adoption center. I don't actually know, because I feel like that would be weird, but I don't know. I have no idea. But anyways, you can basically get this little plushie there, but again, it is in the debug menu. So if you're trying to find it and you can't find it, it is in the debug menu. And it's this just adorable little like tiger plushie. There's 2 different swatches. There's one that has more the like traditional like orange tiger swatch, but then there's one that looks kind of like a snow tiger or something like that, and it looks so adorable. And the way it is sitting and stuff like that makes it so good to like put like on a bed or like on a couch or something like that. So I do end up putting that in the kids room of the 4th apartment, and it looks so cute, and it is just adorable, and I love it so much. I don't know, I literally could go on this entire video talking about just that little plushie because it is so adorable. And the way, I don't know how to explain it, but like the way they made that, it just ends up looking so cute. And like it is, I don't know if it's like the texture or whatever, but just again, it's just so cute. Also, I am not going to lie, I have no idea what I've been talking about the past like 20 minutes. I feel like I've kind of just been like going on and on about things, but I have no idea what I've been talking about. So I am so sorry if none of that was coherent or anything. Again, I am newly awake. I'm still sick. I don't know. But there are a few other things that I want to mention about this apartment complex in general. So there ends up being these kind of like outdoor spaces. So the first apartment, you will see me do that outdoor space, and it's kind of just, again, an outdoor space. I don't know how to explain that. And then there ends up being one right next to it, which you won't see me do. Oh, I don't know what my voice just did. But there are a couple of things that I have to edit out from this video because it's like with the screenshots and stuff like that, it's almost 55 minutes at this point, and that is way too long already. And if I would have kept in every single part of this video, it would have been over an hour long, and I don't feel like sitting here for an hour, and I don't feel like any of you are feeling like sitting here for an hour. So I'm sorry, but also I'm not sorry. So I did end up cutting out all the bathrooms except for one, which I know all the bathrooms like are kind of individual now because they are part of the apartments, if that makes sense. But I just it would have taken too long, and bathrooms are not that exciting. Let's be honest. There's a toilet, there's a sink, and there's a shower, and there's like a few other decorations, but I do end up just showing the one bathroom because otherwise this video would have been way too long. And I also end up showing just the first apartment's outdoor space, and then also the 4th apartment's balcony, which is what I wanted to mention as well. So there ends up being, like I said, there ends up being this outdoor space right next to the first apartment's outdoor space, if that makes sense. And that is technically a like community, like a shared space, if that makes sense. So I was thinking that it's quite common, at least for, I feel like here, I don't know if it actually is quite common. I don't know. I feel like it is common for me, at least. But it's common to have kind of like a shared outdoor space through apartments. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but like in my head it is. So I made it. And there's just this kind of like shared outdoor space where people can like grow plants or like whatever because I also feel like if they're going to like, we don't have this in The Sims 4, but like if they're going to go out for like a smoke or something like that, maybe they would go out there instead of like actually smoking in their apartment, because smoking in an apartment is kind of disgusting. Sorry if you do that, but I feel like everyone knows that is kind of disgusting. So hopefully they would like go out there to do that. But then the apartments on the second floor both end up having a balcony each, and again, you will only see me do the balcony for the fourth apartment, but the third apartment also ends up having a little balcony area. I feel like I'm confusing myself with calling them like the fourth apartment and the first apartment, but it makes sense, again, also because of the timestamp. So if you're ever questioning like what apartment I'm talking about, just look at the timestamp, and if it says like third apartment, that is the third apartment. That's pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, I also wanted to mention that you will see, like, basically when I was doing this entire build, that the windows and in general just the wood swatch that I went for this build is this kind of like darker wood swatch, and the kind of like columns and like accents on the exterior at first ends up being gray, and they are gray until like I was basically done with this build and I was like, something is looking off, and so I tried a few different things and I ended up switching the columns to be also in this like darker wood swatch. So again, you probably saw it from the thumbnail and you will see it in the screenshots as well, but I just thought I'd mention that. So you're like, Mal, currently you have these like gray accents, and then in the end there ends up being this like dark brown ones, like what happened? But that was just that's deliberate. It just, I don't know why. I did really like the gray, it just didn't add enough detail, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it makes any sense, but I'm gonna roll with it. But yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that. And yeah, what else is there to mention? I don't know if there's anything else like to mention about this build specifically, like about the features and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to be talking about the pack, but I don't know if there was anything else I want to mention about the build per se. As always, if you have any questions, just like let me know in the comments, or like ask me in the comments and I will answer it. But yeah, so again, I've had this pack now for a couple of days. I got it on Tuesday, and you might be questioning that, like, Mal, if you've had it since Tuesday, how come this video is not coming up until now? Basically, one, it takes time to edit and to build. Again, there's a reason all my videos are so long. I always speed my videos up to like 500%, so like they're 5 times speed, if that makes sense. But yeah, I always speed them up to that, and even when I do that, there still ends up being like very long. There's a reason for that, and that's because I'm a very detailed builder. We have been here before. I do love my clutter and everything like that, and that just takes time. So not only does it take time for me to build, but also it takes time for me to edit, because I don't know why, and I don't know what I'm doing when I'm building, and I don't understand people that edit fast, but that's just not me. I also, like, one of my pet peeves is like having places in my builds or in my video where I'm just like standing still, and I do not like that, because like personally, if I'm watching a speed build and I see that happen a lot throughout a video, there's like people are, I don't know, just doing something off camp or off cam or something like that, I just, that's an automatic just like, I don't know, it's just kind of just a pet peeve of me, of mine, where like I see that and not like, oh my god, I cannot talk, I am so sorry, but like I see that enough and I will eventually probably stop watching the video if that happens a lot, because it's just a pet peeve of mine. So I have to edit out all of that from my own videos, which takes some time. But yeah, and then also we were supposed to get the codes at a specific time, but then something happened and we didn't get the codes until a few hours later when I was literally going to bed. So technically I wasn't able to play with this until like Wednesday. And then also, again, this is like the 4th or 5th time I'm building this, so it took me a few times, and that's why. So yeah, you're getting this up today, which you're getting this up later than I would usually post. I post always on Fridays at 5 I almost said AM. 5 a.m. on a Friday, that would not be a good time to post for me, but 5 p.m. But this is getting up on Saturday, I hope, at least, but it's also not getting up at 5 because I just do not have time. I woke up at 12. It is currently 1:45, and yeah, I need to edit this, and then like it needs to export and render and whatever, so it's gonna take a bit. So you're probably getting this, I don't know, around like 8 maybe. I don't know, I have no idea. But you're getting this at some point today, hopefully. But yeah, again, I've had this pack for a couple of days, and so I can confidently say that I am in love with it. I think I've mentioned this like so many times already, but I do end up absolutely loving this pack. I think just the details that came with it, and it's so good. And again, I'm going to be using it all the time. I know I've already talked about like a couple of different objects, but I do have a few other objects that like I've seen now that I'm like watching the video back, where I'm like, oh right, I wanted to talk about that and that and that and whatever. So we have this like new decoration. It's kind of like a wall decoration, and there are like a few different baskets, and I love them. I have been wanting something like that for so long. We do have something kind of similar from the Laundry Day Stuff pack, but not quite. I don't know how to explain it. It's just not quite. And that object also has like a couple of shelves, and I don't use it that often, to be fair. But now we have this new like wall decoration object thingy, which have these like baskets or bowls or whatever, which I absolutely adore. We do also have, oh my god, I wanted to mention that, we do also have some new like kitchen clutter in general, which I am in love with. I always love, obviously I love when we get clutter in general, but when we get kitchen clutter, I am here for it, because I love decorating kitchens. Like, kitchens are like one of my favorite parts of builds. I love it so much. But we got a few different like kitchen clutter items. We got this new like kind of like dish rack. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. That's gonna come very weirdly, because I started to hear things outside, and then all of a sudden my brother was in my room and doing just like usual sibling stuff. So I'm sorry if that cut very weirdly, but it is called a dish rack, I think. I don't actually know. But yeah, we have a new one of those, and I used it in every apartment. And I'm probably going to be using it in every single build because it just looks so good and so realistic. I love it so much. And then we also have, which is how I got to this, that again, we have those like baskets, or I don't know, not wooden, but like wicker plates. That's not even the right word either. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But these like woven plates, bowls, whatever. We have that as a wall decorations, but then we also have it as like kind of just a regular decoration, if that makes sense. And we have a couple of different swatches of them. So the different swatches of that, obviously, there are two baskets in that, if that makes sense. This is not making any sense, is it? But you know what I'm talking about if you've seen anything with this pack, and honestly, if you've seen me like actually what I'm doing right now. But anyways, and there are like two that are stacked, and again, there's this like woven, I'm gonna say that's what it's called, but I don't actually know if that's what it's called, but like this woven like bowls kind of, and again, they're stacked, and we have a few different swatches of them. Some of the swatches just like changes the color of the quote unquote like bowls, where like they are like one is lighter, one is darker, or whatever. And I do like that they are two different colors because the contrast that gives is amazing. But then there also is a few different swatches where it has like a little bit of like a lettuce thingy on it. That doesn't make any sense either, does it? But like it has like a little lettuce, I don't know, I wanted to say blade, but that is not correct. I was thinking in Swedish there for a second. But this like lettuce leaf, I don't know. I don't know. I am so out of it right now. I am so sorry. But yeah, so it has this like little lettuce thingy, and some of the swatches is just like a green version of that, but then also some of the swatches has like a little bit of red in it and stuff like that. It ends up looking so cute. And then also we freaking finally have a kettle in this game. I honestly don't know why they took the Sims team so long to bring us a kettle. Like, come on, we've had like an ice cream machine since like 2015 now, but we just now got the kettle. And there are a couple of different versions of the kettle. So there's more of like a traditional version, and then there's more like a like not modern version per se, but like one that you would see in like a normal maybe family home or whatever. And it ends up looking so good. I'm in love with the fact that we have a kettle. To be fair though, I spent a lot of my time with Americans, which is weird, but I also spent a lot of time with British people, so it's quite a contrast. But basically, anytime I speak to Americans about kettles, most of the time they will be like, "What now, huh?" Or they will know what a kettle is, but they do not have one, and I'm like, how? And so I don't know why specifically like American people do not have kettles, and maybe that's why we haven't had a kettle yet, because I feel like most of the Sims team is American, I think. Actually, that's not true, but so I don't actually know why we haven't had a kettle yet. But anyways, kettles are an essential part of any household in Europe, I feel like, at least in Sweden and at least in like the UK and stuff like that. So I assume kind of it's the same for most of Europe. But kettles, like, I honestly could not live without kettle. Not only do I have it to make tea, but also like I boil water for like my pasta and stuff like that. Like it's so much quicker. And so I'm so happy that we have a kettle, and that's probably going to be used in every single kitchen from now on, because I've always had a kettle. Like I could not survive without a kettle IRL. Like I need my kettle. I also do love tea and stuff like that, so that's why probably. But like I don't understand how people live without a kettle, and I don't understand how specifically Americans don't even sometimes know what a kettle is. And I'm like, how do you make tea? Which apparently, and this is apparently, and if this is true, I am so sad. But like apparently they like boil the water either like as actually like on the stove, which is I guess fine, but they will microwave it. They will like fill a mug with water and then put it in the microwave, and that's how they make tea. And if that's true, what kind of abomination to humanity are you? I'm sorry. Like, why, like, no, I don't understand that. And again, I am a tea lover. My entire family is like, we literally have always had a like drawer in our kitchen just dedicated to all our different teas, and it's overfilled all the time. It is one of those like really deep drawers too, and we have a problem with tea in this family. But anyways, like you don't boil water for tea in a microwave. No, not in the microwave. If you know the reference, I love you, but not in the microwave. No, I refuse. I don't know how I got on this tangent, but like, no, that's just wrong on so many levels. But anyways, back to the build. I don't know how to segue out of that, so that I'm just gonna do it like that. But yeah, so when it comes to the build, again, let's move on from my tea debacle and from my warming water in microwave debacle. I'm still hurt by that. But anyways, I wanted to mention that there's only one apartment that has a computer. So I don't know how this happened, to be honest, because I always make a point to have a computer in every single house that I do. There's often like even like a dedicated office area, but all the apartments ended up being like so small, and I just could not fit a desk in any of them except for the one apartment, which is the third apartment. Yeah, there ends up being just one computer in this entire build. But I was thinking that there are probably laptops in every single Sims like inventory, because we can have laptops in their inventory, and in all of the apartments except for I was gonna say all of them. Never mind. In two of the apartments, there ends up being like a kitchen island, which you can place down a laptop on top of there and then use that. And then in the like fourth apartment, there ends up being a desk in the kids' room, so technically you could just place that a computer there as well. And then the grandparents' apartment, which is the first apartment, doesn't have one, but they're grandparents. I'm gonna use that as my excuse. That doesn't make any sense because like my grandma has a computer in her bedroom in her apartment, and my grandpa used to have one as well, so that doesn't even make sense really. And I feel like in this day and age, like every single person, even if they're really really old, has at least like a laptop. But again, maybe they have it in their inventory, so yeah, I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that before anyone yells at me and like, Mal, what happened there? Also, the first apartment doesn't end up having like a dining space. There ends up being like an outdoor dining space for them, so there's at least that. But that apartment was so small, I just could not fit one, so they probably just eat in the sofa. Again, I mean, they are elderly, at least what I imagine. So I feel like maybe people are like, they should definitely have a dining space then, because like how many elderly people eat in their sofa? My grandma does. Don't get me wrong, she doesn't always do that, but like she will do it. I'm not even kidding, she will do it. Like when she's visiting us, because like in my house, almost no one eats at the actual dining table, unless like it depends on the food, but like most of the time none of us eat at the dining table. We all just like, I will eat up in my room, my cousin might actually sit at the dining table, or she will eat in her room, my brother will eat in his room, my parents and my aunt will eat in the sofa, or not the sofa, that sounds weird, but like they will be sitting on the sofa and eating while watching TV. And so when my grandma comes to visit, she just joins them, to be fair. So I feel like that, I don't know, maybe people will be like, that is so unrealistic to have the grandparents like, or the elderly people eat in their sofa, or why do I keep saying in the sofa? On the sofa? I don't even know anymore. Anyways, it's realistic for me, so I'm just gonna say that. I don't know. This entire voiceover has been kind of a mess, and I'm so sorry. I have no idea what I'm been talking about, like, at all, and me editing this is gonna be something. But yeah, I also wanted to mention, I have a new favorite bed. The bed that came with this expansion pack. It is so pretty. Like, the 4-poster bed, it is so pretty. I ended up using it in the third apartment, and it is so freaking pretty, and I'm going to be using that all the time. Again, it's so pretty, and I honestly don't know what's been going on recently with the Sims team, but the content they have been delivering, a lot of it looks like CC, and I'm not complaining. I am so here for it, because like it looks so good. Like that bed looks like CC. A lot of the objects from this pack in general looks like CC, and that has been the case from like for I guess the packs that we have gotten like this specific year, or specifically this year. There we go. Which, to be fair, this is our third expansion pack this year, which is insane. And I also don't know how the Sims team is thinking, like, how people can afford that in this economy. But yeah, anyways, actually, this is a great time to mention, I am currently running a giveaway for this expansion pack on my Twitter. It ends on the 17th of December of this year, so if you're watching this after that, I am so sorry, but if you're watching this before that, you can I will leave a link down below. It'd be like the first link in the description box, and you can enter it if you want to. The only thing you have to do is like and retweet, and then comment your favorite emoji, or your most used emoji. I think it was the most used emoji this time. So yeah, just you can enter that if you want to get this expansion pack, because I do highly recommend it, especially if you are a builder. And from what I've seen, the cast is absolutely beautiful. I do need to take a look on that. I probably will do that today, to be honest, but the cast, from what I've seen, is absolutely beautiful. So I feel like a lot of people will love this pack. And yeah, again, I don't know what the Sims team is thinking. Like, in this economy, who can afford all of these expansion packs that we've gotten? We've gotten so many. To be fair, there was like a huge sale during Black Friday, I think. So I don't know. And also, isn't Sims 4 like free play now? Like, isn't that free? I'm pretty sure like the base game itself, isn't it free? I think so. I don't know, to be honest, because like I feel like I think that happened last year and I was not active at the time, I think. I might be wrong, actually. I don't know. But yeah. I am once again so sorry if that cut weirdly. My cat started meowing so loudly and she's still doing it. So if you hear that, I am so sorry. She really wants to be let into my room. As soon as I'm done recording this, by the way, she will be let in. Don't get me wrong. She's my cat. Like she's actually like my cat. And I love her more than anything. And she's always allowed in my room except for when I'm recording. So yeah, I always have my door open. So like, don't worry. I'm she's allowed in here, just not currently when I'm recording. So I had to pause a little bit. So yeah. I don't even know what I was talking about, so I'm so sorry. This is not going to be coherent at all, is it? I feel like that's kind of the theme of this video though, because I feel like I've just been going off on, I've been talking about the build or this pack in general, but I don't know what I've been saying like at all. But again, I think I'm in love with like every single object in this pack. Again, I tried to use as many objects from this pack as possible, but I also, because this isn't quite traditional, I didn't use all of them, like I mentioned before, I think, but in the fourth and final apartment, I do end up using the new couch and armchair, which I love. I love it so much. It looks so cozy. Actually, it doesn't. What am I saying? It doesn't really look cozy because it's not one of those like couches where it's like you can imagine yourself sitting there for so long, but they do look good. And I do love the new armchair. I don't know why specifically the armchair, but like I do absolutely love it. I did also want to mention, right, this is what I wanted to mention. I am so sorry if there are weird cuts in general in this video. Like there's a lot of like transitions and stuff like that. My game was lagging when I was building this, which I don't know if they have fixed, and I don't know if it's because I had early access or what it was, but there was just something I don't know what it was, but basically if I were like deleting an object or even placing an object or like literally doing whatever, my game would lag so badly. And then I looked in a Discord server for like sim stuff that I'm in, and a lot of other people were also having problems with it, like our early access, and we kind of discovered that if you were building in just like the residential like normal mode, it was fine, but if you were building in the new like residential rental, then it was lagging. So you will see me at the very end of the video. You might see that because at the top there is now like a new feature right next to the bulldoze lot feature. There's like a new feature where you like can actually like show which apartment is which. You will see that disappears towards the very end of the video because I didn't actually look up what the issue was or like how to fix it until the end of the video, or to the end of this build. So you will see that might disappear, and that's just because I was like, I'm so done with this lag. I need to just be able to finish this build. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. So if you see any weird cuts, that is why. I don't know if they have fixed it now, but if you are experiencing similar problems while building with this new pack, I highly recommend just like going back, or not going back, but like changing the lot type to a regular residential and then switch it back when you're done with the build. Just because I don't know why it was lagging so much, but it just was, and it's The Sims. I'm not surprised, to be honest. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that. There was something else I wanted to mention too. I don't know what. Oh, right. You might have noticed that I am not using the tool mod or Better Build and Buy for this. Again, because I got early access for this. Better Build and Buy had not been updated, and Tool had not been updated, or had not been updated. There we go. So yeah, sadly, I was not able to use any of those, which like the Better Build and Buy was fine. Like I can't survive without it. If I was doing like more like a regular family home, I would not have been, because landscaping wise, I do really need those objects. I was like, I did still use like debug and live edit menu items, whatever, from this pack in this build. So even though I didn't have that mod in, my voice is absolutely dying. I don't know what's happened. So even though I did not have the mod in, I did still use those objects, but building this without the tool mod was really hard because I kind of just like, what's it called? I don't know. I rely. There we go. I found the word. I rely on the tool mod so much. And building this without the tool mod was kind of hard, to be honest, and not for like any big reasons, but just because like the sizing of paintings or the sizing of like rugs, which is what I usually use the tool mod for, to be honest. But I could not use the tool mod for this, and it was such a pain. But it's okay. I was able to make it work still, which is like, it's kind of annoying that I couldn't use the tool mod, but it's okay. This is just proof that I can build without the tool mod. I don't need the tool mod to build. I can still build without it. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I feel like people would be like, Mal, you're not using tool mod, which you normally would be. What is happening? But that is why, because like anytime I put the tool mod in, the world would just be white. I couldn't even get into my game. So that is quite unfortunate, but that's what it is. That's how it is when you get early access. I've experienced this. Oh my god, I am having a stroke. I have experienced this before when I have gotten early access as well, where I have not been able to use tool mod. And again, the first build I usually don't have tool mod, but the build you will see next week from me, which I am currently in the middle of building, that one will be using tool mod, and I feel like I'm at home again, so don't worry, this is just like a one-time thing. But yeah, I don't know, like the tool mod, honestly, Twisted Mexi is like a god. Also, the way Twisted Mexi like has the like updates for the tool mod and the build by mod and like all the mods so quickly is absolutely insane. Like, we should be so appreciative of them and any modders to be honest, because like they do things so quickly for us and it's absolutely amazing. Could not be me like at all, could not be me at all, but I am so just in awe and appreciative of all the modders because they are absolutely amazing. But yeah, I don't know, was there anything else? There was probably like a lot of other things I wanted to mention. Oh, actually, one detail that is like from this pack that is so weird to comment on, but that I absolutely love are the new like roof swatches. For this build, I used the green wood swatch, what? Roof swatch, which I don't think I've ever used a green roof swatch, but I don't know, it just looked so good for this build. And the one I used is kind of like a little bit weathered and a little bit like, I don't know, not used, because I don't know how you would say that, but like, yeah, I guess just weathered. And in general, I did put a lot of the new kind of just like again, wall decorations, or like they're in the paintings category, where they kind of just like look like dirt or just, you know, tears or whatever, and I used them all over the build just to make it a little bit more realistic. But yeah, anyways, that's basically it for this video, and I really hope you liked it. If you want to download this build, you can do it from my gallery. My gallery ID is Sims04, and the tray files will also be linked down below. But yeah, anyways, that's basically it for this video, and I really hope you liked it, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!